Hello and good afternoon, and welcome to the Shed, hashtag Irish Blues Mafia with me, Trevor, where I am delighted and honoured to be joined by uh, John Fina, a former Buffalo Bills who has played two Super Bowls, spent 10 seasons with the Buffalo Bills, finished his career in Arizona, and has his own hashtag Fina Friday, which is brilliant. So it is on Twitter and X. So you're very welcome, John. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the great gear. Got myself the Irish
Oh,
Bills Mafia coffee cup, keychain, and shirt. Thanks so much. Repping it
you're,
proudly.
you're very welcome, and thank you very much. All in the hope of growing the Bills fans in Ireland. But you're very welcome. Um, just to start, John, you went to high school in, I hope I say this correctly, Sal Pionte Catholic. Is that correct?
Yeah, Sal Point, the
Sal
Bishop
Point.
of Sal Point Catholic High School. You bet.
Yeah. And where you were the first team All State in your senior year. And from what I've read, they retired your jersey afterwards. That must be a great honor for yourself.
Yeah, well, I guess it is. I do love my high school. All my kids have gone there. My nieces, nephews, siblings. So it's Sal Point Lancers run deep in our DNA.
That's that's very very good. And it's good that your family continues to go there after yourself. After high school, you went to college in Arizona, where in 1992 you were picked 27 in round one for the Buffalo Bills. What was it like back then in the draft? And as a young person out of college that's spent their time in Arizona, what was it like going to Buffalo then?
Well, I'll tell you, both college recruiting and the draft are so much more exciting now, both for the public and the player. Back in those days, it was the dark ages, right? It was just phone calls and you're watching it on ESPN or whichever network was carrying the draft. So it wasn't this kind of, worldwide or at least national phenomenon where everybody's connected to every player and the hype is not just on TV, it's everywhere. All these YouTube channels and Instagram and everything like that. So I imagine it's a hell of a lot more fun now for the players than it was back in our day. But the experience to hear your name called was just fabulous. You can't really describe it. It's probably right below birth of a child or something of that nature, wedding day, that kind of thing. So that experience was incredible. Being drafted by the Bills was spectacularly awesome because my family is from Western New York. And I've had, my entire career in Buffalo, I've had family from Rochester come to every game. And it's just been, it was an amazing experience. So I couldn't have been drafted by a better team, better organization, and a better fit for me and my family.
That's brilliant to hear. So it is. Um, you were playing. You played under the legend head coach at the Bills, Marv Levy. How influential was he to Buffalo, to you, and to your game?
Well, Marv is a special guy. He didn't fit the mold as you would think about a football coach being this big, brash personality and larger than life. Marv just was a very steady, smart manager of the team. And some people say, well, he should have been stronger to quell the issues in the locker room. I don't know that anybody really can do that. I enjoyed Marv. I loved his approach to the game, to managing people. And he truly is a legend and always and forever highly respected in Buffalo, and deservedly so.
Very good. You also played with the likes of Jim Kelly, quarterback, Thurman Thomas, running back, Andre Reed, wide receiver, amongst many more. What was it like? What were they like as players in the dressing room, and what were they like as teammates?
I think you get 53 guys in a locker room, and everybody is an alpha male, and everybody is just so strong in personality, right? So it's like a noise or a rumbling that's under the surface at all times. But the best part about that, because the tensions were always very high, was the comedic outlet. When somebody would say something funny and that would turn into, teasing and more, good-natured fun. That's what really made the locker room great. And we had great leadership. Not with, it wasn't always perfect, but it isn't always perfect. And I think that's the beauty of it. We really, we cobbled it together. Personalities were strong, and it really made for just a brilliant time of my life.
That's excellent to hear. After being drafted in 1992, you would be involved in playing two Super Bowls back to back in 92 and 93. Unfortunately, we didn't win them, but you must have some magical experiences. Can you tell us about them and your special memories or moments from those Super Bowls?
Oh, wow. I get this type of question quite a bit. And I think the working backwards is the most important thing. I think to myself, how would my life be different had we won one of the Super Bowls where I played? Would it be appreciably different than it is now? And I don't think the answer is yes. I think that my life would pretty much be the same. So I with that lens, and I've always felt this way, I can't look back on that in deep, dark regret, because
Yeah.
I'm a pragmatist by nature, and I think of my experiences as compared to other people's. There are a lot of other players who play a good long career in the NFL that never make it that far. Our beloved Josh Allen hasn't made it that far, Stephon Diggs, and I wouldn't call their careers failures, right? But some of my fondest memories were just really the excitement, the end of the season, getting ready for the playoffs. And that first playoff game, the heightened excitement of it all, the expectation, the tension. You could just, the whole city of Buffalo vibrating in excitement. And, those experiences you don't get for that lasting period of time. The actual game itself, the lead up to everything involved in the Super Bowl is so heightened and is so exciting. But, once the ball is snapped, that first snap, it's survival, kill or be killed mode. And you tend to forget, some of it drifts away, that this is the Super Bowl, because you can't get too focused on the magnitude of it, or you'll lose yourself in what you're supposed to do play to play to play.
Uh, 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 like, I know from here it's a different sport, but in Ireland, GAA is our national sport, and I'm from Mayo, which is in the west of Ireland. But we last won the All Ireland back in 1951, which is the All Ireland would be the Super Bowl in NFL. But we've been back at the final for so many times. And between 2012 and 2021, I think it was seven times, including two replays. And we've never crossed the line. But as a supporter, now I'm not a player, but as a supporter, I know when you look, when the hurt happens, it's very sore. But afterwards, when you look back on the journey is something you'll never swap. I've gone to games that I would never swap for, no matter what the results, if we were to win the All Ireland or not. And from my time as being a Buffalo Bills fan, it's similar. Like, because of the Mayo experience, except that yes, we lost to Kansas City a few weeks ago, or well, a couple of months ago, it was very hard to take for that week. But then you look back at the season, and you had lows, but you had plenty highs, and you enjoyed the journey too. And for a player, it must be, that's just me talking as a fan, but it must be heightened more as a player, that the achievement you did to get to a Super Bowl and then to get to back Super Bowls.
Yeah, well, I think what you touched on there is, let's just say it's an ancient Irish saying, right? Because I don't know that the Italians had too much science. The Irish were all about thoughts and philosophy, right? Well, maybe. Anyway, the person that ignores the joys and the excitement of the journey only to focus on the destination really doesn't get the magic and the experience of life. I think that's really what you're saying. And I couldn't agree more. Uh, you know, if you are not smelling the roses as you walk the pathway of life, then you've really missed the point, because the destination is the same for all of us. As a football player, it's either retirement or forced retirement. As a human being, it's death. It's pushing up daisies, right?
Yeah.
So in between is where life's experiences are savored and relished. And I think when you find the people that understand that, you gravitate to them. And with respect to being a fan of the Buffalo Bills, particularly yesterday, Black Wednesday, right? Which is such like a European saying, Black Tuesday, Black Black Friday. That's kind of an American thing, I guess. You you get attached to your players, and then they leave, and you're heartbroken. So some people are lashing out a little bit. Most of it is good natured, and most of it is a little bit of, I'm losing my favorite player. And I have to say, for me, losing Jordan Poyer and Mitch Morse was tough, and Tre'Davious White, who, just as people, you gravitate to them. And that's how the media and the internet now and all the social media have really changed the game. I think in years past, Trave, you could dislike a player and not have to see them on Instagram or X, Twitter. So you didn't have an affinity for them. You got to be a little bit cut and dry. I don't like that player because he doesn't play well. And then you didn't have any insight into his personal life, into what he did at his charities and everything like that. So I think it makes it a little tougher to be a fan now. And it's especially in a place like Buffalo, where we're super connected to our team, and it means so much, and it's interwoven into the fabric of the Buffalonian people. And then you get the chance to see into their hearts a little bit more, and see what a great guy Mitch Morse is, and Tre'Davious White, and see their families. And a day like yesterday just hurts that much more, because you look at players and you try to draw a corollary that I am like that player, or we see eye to eye on this, or we like the same brand of orange juice, or we wear the same shoes. And it just becomes so hard. And then you wait a month, and then you're over it, and you just gotta hold on to those great memories. But that's the beauty of this game, I think, as well.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, it is like time is a great healer for, happy memories will always stay with you. Sad memories in
With,
time will.
with a caveat, time is only the great healer if you are in the right space as a fan to begin with, right? If you're the type of fan that accepts defeat and relishes victory, and doesn't blame players and isn't vindictive, then these types of moments, this transition time for our team, is much more tolerable and also exciting, right? Embrace the change.
100%. You spent 10 seasons with the Buffalo Bills. Not too many players can say that anywhere. What is so special about Buffalo, and what is the meaning of the Buffalo Bills to you?
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, Trey. Listen, I love Buffalo because I lived in the city of Buffalo. I didn't live out by the stadium, which, for you, walk out your back door and, 27 miles away or whatever is the prairies of Ireland, right? I lived in the city, and I really just gravitated to the people there, the vibrancy of the city of Buffalo, and everything it had to offer, from, quirky businesses, incredibly jaw-dropping architecture, the arts, the music scene, the restaurant scene. And I was a young, single guy, so I was looking for things to do, and Buffalo had a ton of it. Great personality, quirky type people, and solid business people. it was just a joy to be in what I consider one of the great American cities that, no matter how you slice it, has history just dripping off of every edge. So I hold Buffalo very near and dear to my heart. They took a chance on me. I like to believe that I delivered, and that was a little bit like my career path as a player. I was, you know, very skinny and weak and slow in high school. I had one good senior season. I was fortunate to get one of 3 offers that I took, but not many else. And then at the University of Arizona, I was, not a very highly regarded player. I worked and worked and worked, and I made my way onto the scene in, my senior year, and kind of came from nowhere. So I look at that way as, the people that identified me, that trusted me, certainly get my allegiance and my love. Now, to be fair, when I got let go from Buffalo, it stung. And although I still love the people of Buffalo and the city itself, I was a little aggravated with how the Buffalo Bills handled it. But now I'm going to be 55 on Monday, and I get it now. It's a business, and I took it personally because it happened to me, and every player has the right to do so. But in the end, I get it. We all get cut or we all retire. Most guys get cut and never get called back. That's how it works.
Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the way of the world. But the good thing was that you got out to Arizona then to have your final season and retire then.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Um, in relation to the 2023 season, how did you view it, how it went, and what changes, in your opinion, need to be made or have been made in the last couple of days? There's been a good few for the coming season to move forward and challenge Kansas City.
Okay, so Trevor, listen, there's so much to talk about here, so I'm going to keep my comments really pretty cut and dry and not, kind of dive in too far. I think when Joe Brady took over, things turned around. You can't help but have a little hindsight and say it was 3 games too late. I think Joe Brady did a magnificent job. That change really brought about a certain excitement and zeal to the offense that we needed. I think that we need a true wide receiver too. I don't like how the coaching staff didn't get James Cook and Khalil Shakir, and from last year, the year before last year, and also Dalton Kincaid. I don't like how they slow drip them. I want people thrown into the crucible, get ready to play. And we could have had a greater impact from James Cook and Khalil Shakir this year if they had played more the previous year. They were babied. I don't know if babied is the right word, introduced, a long introduction. Same with Dalton Kincaid. I would have, and that's just my nature. Get those guys in there, get them going. Okay. All that to say that in the end, is far back as I can remember to my playing days, it's a war of attrition. And we lost too many players on defense. And when we were going into that game against Kansas City, I really was feeling downhearted because I just didn't see it because of the injuries. No other reason but the injuries on defense really just buried this team. You can't control that. You can't. They always come. Every time they come, it's the worst time they come. One thing I will say is the team stuck together, and they look poised to do well. A lot of players were released. A lot of cap space was developed. And going forward, I just think you got to get your coffee cup full of processed juice and down it and, swallow hard. Some of these things, damn it all, you have to swallow hard. a regret, and I never like calling players out. I really like Kyer Elam, but I'm disappointed. Not in him, because you don't know the injuries, anything of that nature that he dealt with. It just saddens me when any player doesn't shine. I'd like to see them all do well. So that's my take on 2023. There were a few coaching errors that we could identify, but most of those, I don't know if you have this saying over there, but hindsight is 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're in the moment, I don't think anyone or everyone makes all the right decisions. And I'm willing to kind of give passes on that. So overall, tough season, but I think this staff and this leadership will put us in a good position to rebound next year.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It's hindsight is a great thing, but if we all had hindsight, we'd all be perfect. So, but the yeah, I like it's from 6-6 last year when we lost to the Broncos that night in Buffalo. You could never see the playoffs, and when the world went against the Buffalo Bills, well, more so the media in America, with they really stuck together, stuck behind Sean McDermott, and you could see how much they believed in the coach. And Joe Brady was a big, huge, mega improvement for Josh Allen and the offense. Was the only thing that for me as a fan would say across the water, watching it like it is totally different over there in some ways, but was, and we don't know the ins and outs, was getting Kansas City in Buffalo was mentally or a very, very important game to win to get the monkey off the back, and just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean that was probably the only good thing about that game, that we at least had it at home for once. Look, I think I'm proud of my team, and I will never be the guy that says that they suck because they didn't win the Super Bowl. It'll never be good enough for some people until a Super Bowl is won. And I just don't, as a player, look at it that way, because I understand how hard it is to win any game. The Jets are a miserable football team, and we lost one to them, right? New England, not brilliant, and we lost to the New England Patriots last year. I mean, that's hard to tolerate. So as a player, I recall I didn't care, if we were playing St. Mary's, Children of the Blind. You still got to strap it on, and those kids are going to come out and play. They're all hard games. I know that's, pretty extreme analogy, but frankly, winning a football game is not easy. So look, for me, my team is consistently making it to the playoffs. I have a great deal of pride in that. And the fact that they lose a game at the end of the season, everybody does except for one team. I'm not going to hold them in contempt, and I'm not going to, burn the house down and call for everyone's job. It's just not my nature. I want to be a fan, and I want to love my team, and I will figure out a way to do it as long and hard as I can, even if I have to lie to myself just a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's it is, being a fan, emotional. Some people do go overboard, but at the end of the day, when you look back at the journey, it was an amazing. Like last year, I got to see the Buffalo Bills play. I never thought I'd see it in my life, being over here in Ireland, but they came to London, and the results didn't go the way in Jacksonville. But the day I got to see Josh Allen throw two touchdowns, Gabe Davis caught one, Stephon Diggs caught one, and you take away the result and you look at the day of what you've seen and the whole lot, and as a fan, you couldn't ask for more. And they gave everything in the game. It just wasn't to be. And I know against Kansas City, they did the same. I think I agree with you. Our defense was short players due to injuries. You can't count for that. And in the end, I think that's where we got caught. But is something to aim for the 2024 season. Is the benchmark to me is Kansas City. Either we find a way to beat them, or or we're going to be short again. And
Right.
they're an amazing team,
Right, and that's why we saw the roster moves yesterday, right? We've got to retool a little bit on defense personnel wise, obviously, because we let people go. We our secondary is a great big question mark. To be fair, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer have had some injury problems of late, right? Kyer Elam didn't deliver the way we wanted him to. Christian Benford is a great addition to the team from 2 years ago, has had a little bit of injury issues. Rasul Douglas very clearly was not fit to play 100% against Kansas City in the last game of the season. Linebacker core was brilliant up until that game where we suffered injury. Terrell Dodson, Christian Bernard. I mean, you just don't see it coming. But you cannot look at the structure and the personnel of your team and worry about injuries. You just have to stack them with the right people that fit your scheme. That is going to be a very, very big issue for the Bills this year. Get the right people for the scheme. On offense, there aren't as many question marks and difficulties as you might think. I think that Connor McGovern will be a terrific substitute for Mitch Morse at center. He's had experience there. He's a good, smart, young football player. I'm okay with that, although I will very much miss Mitch Morse. That's a lot of alliteration. I apologize.
Okay.
And I think the wide receiver situation needs to improve. Okay, so the offense is pretty well taken care of. The defense is a little bit of a head scratcher. But, and I will add this as a caveat, it's an arms race in the NFL. It is so important that you score and you score fast, that you have great plan. You can fuse your defenses. That's the greatness of Patrick Mahomes and the head coach there, whose name escapes me at the moment. Andy Reid. And that's what they do. They scheme, they game plan. Joe Brady had better be studying quite a bit. We need to evolve. We need to have a few plays every game that are so super specific for the weaknesses of their defense. And we certainly didn't get that with the previous Dorsey. But Joe Brady had better find this as a way to, really expose the team, the defenses, pardon me. I'm optimistic, Trevor. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, no, I do believe that's the right moves. Like, as leave out the personal side of the players, but Tre'Davious White came back from an injury. Now, I will say he was playing absolutely brilliant when it happened again, but for him at his age to come back again to play at that level with the injuries, you'd have to have a question mark over. Jordan Poyer has been brilliant, and Micah Hyde to the Bills, but again, they were kind of injury prone and coming towards the end of their career. Mitch Morse, I do agree, is a big loss in centre, but McGovern hopefully will take his place. But if you look at what I was just listening to a podcast about the Chiefs and what they did, they rely an awful lot on the draft and getting young players, hungry players that fill in these spots where they don't have. It isn't too expensive on them. Is that something that the Bills need to look at going into the draft this year?
Well, I mean, I can read pretty well, I think. And as an expert, I am not that guy. The salary cap is, that's where the true bean counters, the accountants who track that stuff are far better than I. This is an opportunity to get younger and to get cheaper. The impact to the cap, I don't follow it. But we all knew this was coming, Trevor. It had to come. Yeah. Everybody talks about it all the time. I don't want to take the time to become an expert myself, but I saw the writing on the wall, as everybody did. So this is the first step to address getting younger at some positions and, getting poised to continue to make the playoffs every year and not suffer salary cap challenges. I guess that's the shortest way I can say it. But again, look, every player leaves the league somehow, some way. Some have a 4-year career, some have a 11, 12-year career. Enjoy the guys while you got them. Root for your team as hard as you can. And, don't get too attached that you behave improperly on X or Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. Love your team, but don't let their decisions ruin your day or ruin your life.
And that's the correct way. It's the correct way to look at it. So it is for 2024, all going well with draft and signing players. Are you excited? Are you looking forward to it? Or do you think we're in a rebuilding stage now where we might be a year or two before challenging again for a Super Bowl?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're in a rebuild stage. I think as long as you have the offense mostly intact and you're missing maybe 2 pieces, you always have a chance. With our quarterback, running back, the way the offensive line has been playing, I think we just need to get more dynamic in our passing game, a little bit more creative. I won't go into specifics, but I think defensively, we need to be a little bit more opportune, create more turnover. Well, we do well with turnovers, but consistency down the road, I think we've missed. And I don't blame them for the Kansas City game because personnel-wise, it really wasn't a great fit. But I think you got to take more chances on defense. That game being the outlier, because when you are that injured, you can't really take that many chances or you're going to be in real trouble. So I'm not too concerned. I don't call it a building year, a rebuild. When you say rebuild, you think of a 6-11 season. I think this team will still make the playoffs. I think that the pieces are in place. And sometimes when you get youth and inexperience, you also get lightning in a bottle. So maybe, just maybe, you get lightning in a bottle and we go deep into the playoffs and hopefully make it to the big game.
Hopefully so. Well, John, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show. I very much appreciate it. You have had a fantastic career, and it's great to see you so involved, as being a fan now of the Buffalo Bills and enjoying it. And thank you for your chat today. I very much appreciate it.
My pleasure, Trevor, to be on Irish Bills Mafia. Everybody over there that's part of the group, keep the faith. And thanks for being a Bills fan, the old red, white, and blue, the Americans. Thank you for your interest in American football. And, just as you follow your favorite rugby club or your favorite football club over in Europe, disappointment, heartbreak, you got to even it up with the joy and celebration. The ball is shaped differently, but the emotions are still the same. So thanks for having me, and good luck to our Buffalo Bills, and go Bills.
Go Bills, my friend. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.